Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Find the Funny with me, Lisa Alvarado. And guess what? We did squeeze out 3 parts with Jen Karam because we had a lot of shit to talk about.
I know, and we're not even finished.
We're not finished.
This is without the wine.
This is without the wine, you guys. So I'm going to have Jen back, and then we'll have 7 episodes on that one.
Let's make it a series, Jen and Lisa.
When we do the alcohol, we'll be showing a lot of things. Talking boys. And
you were dressed as Superwoman at the Improv.
I know, I was. We're going to we're going to show a picture of me at Halloween as Superwoman.
At the Hollywood Improv.
At the Hollywood Improv,
and everybody was... Everybody was like, hey,
all dressed up.
You are some Superwoman.
Yeah, I had to suck in my gut really good on that one.
That's a good part.
Yes, this is episode 3. Tune into this one.
Yeah, Superwoman.
Hello, Find the Funny fans. This is Sarah Laspisa, the producer. Lisa's new comedy special is available right now on YouTube. There's a link in the show notes or the description below. Watch this teaser, and we'll be right back.
¿Qué pasó? We go to Peru. My mom goes, Lisa, do you only carry one baby in your body? And I'm like, yeah, Mom, but 15 kilos of Coke. I cannot stand when people judge one another solely by the color of their skin. I mean, you guys, what about the texture? This is smooth. That does not make me feel pretty. Scientists, they can find Mars, but can they find a G-spot? That's what I'm gonna find out.
But yeah, what are you working on next?
Oh, good question. My goal is to tape another special.
And where will you do that?
Probably a good half hour of new material now. And
isn't it amazing how long it takes to get?
Oh my gosh. To get it good.
Yeah.
To get it like all the tags, everything memorized, develop it to the point where you're like, okay, I think this bit is done.
Yeah.
Because the funky thing that happens with specials is you'll tape a joke that you love, and then like 2 years later you thought of so many more tags, and it's now 10 minutes long where it was 4 minutes before. Yeah. And then you're like, damn it, I want to put that joke on a special again.
Yeah.
So even with the stuff that's on the special, I have new tags for those jokes now.
Yeah.
So,
I think somebody said that Chris Rock said it's like 10 years and then he finally had the thing to this one bit, you know.
Yes. So it takes so many times with different audiences.
Well, you've heard that a writer's work is never done. It's merely abandoned. So you just like,
true.
That's a good one. That's so true.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah. So,
oh my gosh.
But you want to do another special, but I
want to do another special.
Driving.
And also that you got to feed the beast, which is social media.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like clips is the way that comedians break out. Nowadays.
Okay.
Like you see all these comics that put their own, got rejected from Netflix, HBO, whatever, talented comics.
Yeah.
They put their own special out, cut that up. Then they get all the viewers and followers themselves. Then years later, Netflix will come back knocking on the door and going, hey, you have 1 million followers now.
Wow.
We want your followers.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have a lot more control.
Right.
Where we used to have to wait for the Comedy Central special or the late night set or HBO or Showtime or whatever. We had to wait to be invited to those.
Right.
Or Just for Laughs, you know. But now you don't have to be on any of that, and you can Matt Rife it. You know what I mean?
Matt Rife it. Yeah.
It's like
exactly.
I'm gonna Matt Rife this shit.
Yeah. You can build your own following now.
Yeah.
So that's why I travel around with this tiny little camera, and I'm trying to just capture these moments.
You have a lot of followers, right?
I used to have a lot on Instagram and I got hacked.
Oh, me
Someone
too.
stole my account.
Yeah, oh.
Did you lose all your people too?
No, it just said violation of community guidelines. And I was like, what? And then I wrote to them. And then they said, oh, sorry, it was a mistake. And then they said it should be back up. And I think it's just a matter of fixing something with the password. I can't log back in.
Yeah.
So it's still there though. But then I just started a new one. And then I wrote and wrote. But there's nobody there to answer.
It's all bots.
But the first person wrote. But then
yeah,
it's
all bots.
What, you might know. What?
No. That's similar to what happened to Lisa, except for that she wrote like several times, and then they just shut it down.
Yeah, and they asked me for all this proof, and I did send it. I sent, like, they do a facial recognition thing to pair you up with your own pictures and video and stuff like that.
So when was this?
It was about a year ago.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
A little over a year ago, yeah. And so I went
Just
from, I don't know, 20-something thousand people to 0.
Yeah.
And I had to start a new account with a new name and everything. So because they were just so unwilling to help and didn't care, and I wasn't making any money, I'm still on Instagram, but I more so focus on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, because I just feel like it's
do
more
the shorts?
It's more for creators. Yeah. And then this podcast is long form, so that'll be on YouTube as well.
Okay.
And so
do you do TikTok?
TikTok. We do. Sarah handles that because I'm not a child.
We do we also like Blue Sky, I guess.
Oh,
is
yeah.
new, so we started on
Did you
Blue
get an account
Sky.
on there yet?
I did. I did. I haven't told everyone on Facebook because everyone's
isn't
like,
that
follow me
crazy?
on Blue Sky.
Yeah. I never even heard of that. It's just there's so many
I know.
new ones.
Yes, exactly, like a little rabbit house.
What was the other? There was something before Blue
Thread?
Sky that didn't really.
The Instagram thread?
Right.
Yeah.
Is that kind of fallen to the wayside? No one's really.
People post on there, but it's like another place I got to read their joke. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the
Right.
same, it's like, I mean, how much time do we have, people?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how many times you gotta post something?
Yeah. Now it's to the point where you kind of have to hire a social media
I know.
manager.
Yeah.
I mean,
do.
that's a legit job that people get paid really well for now.
I know. I worked with Don McMillan, and
Yeah.
he was on, AGT. He hired a person that does his thing.
Oh,
so
okay.
he's like working all over, and he has a ton of followers and stuff.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, but it's like, but you don't make as a volunteer. I don't have the money.
Yeah.
Right. As a volunteer.
We only just started to monetize her YouTube channel too, so it took a while to get there.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
wow.
takes, because you
But
need
with
a
your show or just your clips?
mostly my clips, mostly comedy clips.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the shorter ones.
You do the shorts, right?
Yeah, I do both. Like I have my old special on there, my 1st special. So some
Yeah.
people watched that. It just,
Yeah.
you got to get a certain amount of hours. That the problem with the shorts is they got to watch it over and over and over and share it. But if you keep going, for some reason, I guess the algorithm, whatever that, it picks up on just that you're constantly submitting stuff. So you got to be okay with throwing a lot of shit at the wall.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to hit.
Yeah, that's
It's not
true.
a science.
You
It's
don't just go, this is bit. I want that bit.
clips that I thought were going to do really well. Like cinematically, they're good.
Yeah.
The joke was there. The audience response, it's a unique thing. Gets like 200 views or whatever. But then you'll see something that you're like, oh, this isn't going to get anything. And it's 400,000 views. You're like, for that?
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
What?
Yeah.
What? And it's the most mundane, crazy.
Yeah.
You're just like that. I don't even like that joke.
Yeah.
Right.
And that one goes viral.
Yeah.
And also during the election time, I was doing Sarah Palin impersonations
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And that was really getting a lot of clicks too, just because of the political atmosphere. But then after the election was over, then it kind of is dying down. And I think people are just so sick of
They don't want
Yeah.
to see it
all the
anymore,
drama.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I am, so I don't do it anymore, but
Yeah.
you got to ride whatever wave is happening at the
That's,
moment.
that's what I learned too. Like you look at like trends. There's this thing called Google Trends, and
Yeah.
you look and you find what people are talking about, and if you can get a joke or something from what people are talking about, then you get a lot of hits and a lot of views. So
Which means you constantly have to be online researching that. It's almost like working on the Daily Show. They only have those jokes only have a shelf life of 2 days.
Yeah.
And then it's the next
so
thing.
Google Trends. Okay.
Yeah.
Google
and then
Trends.
it's the next thing, and that's the next thing. So
Okay.
yeah. You used to have a podcast, right?
Well, I did it was called In My Bed with Jan Karam.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's like fun.
Yeah, well, the concept is that I only did the one with Fred Stoller and to
nice.
come over, but it's hard because you ask people to come over.
Yeah. I mean, like this. Yeah.
But yeah, right. No, but it's not that. But where I live, it's harder to park. But it's fine. See, people will do it. But it was like it was March 7th, and then then everything shut down like a week later or something.
Oh shoot!
So he came over, and the concept is like we're in our pajamas, and we're in bed, but on top of the bed, and like it's like something like intimate conversations with people I've never slept with.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and it's just like it just lends itself to being really down to earth, like things you talk. What do you think about when you go to sleep, and what do you do in bed, and
that's wild.
That's
so a great concept.
So so I want to do it again, but again, the whole effort of everything.
Oh my gosh, it's so much. Even
just
with
doing
this podcast, it's like we got to set up the room, we got to tear it down. Sarah edits, and then we got to make sure the audio. And it's like
team.
all this equipment. It's
you have nice
you're really your own one person production company, or 2-person production company, which is so hard.
And that's what's so demanding about the medium now,
right?
It's just changes.
You have to. Like everybody has a ring light. Everybody has something for their phone. You have a little stand. Like every comic I talk to when I go on the road, they all have their own little thing because we have to put out these clips.
Yeah.
And it really sucks the older generation like myself. I don't like that part of it. I like to just, move up the ladder because I'm funny.
Right.
Because my jokes are good. Because my confidence is better than it used to be. Because I've grown. Now it's because, someone 2 years in could be selling out the Improv.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it shouldn't be that. It's heartbreaking because people like us have been doing it so many years.
Yeah.
And the people that are getting the stage time are people that can put butts in seats.
Yeah.
It's a business. And I understand, and I'm not mad at the clubs. It just kind of breaks my heart a little bit. Yeah.
It's like it changed. What is it? Change horses midstream? Like, I just figured out how to do it.
Yeah, I just figured, right, exactly.
Yeah. So I had had to do an animated series audition, and it was a lot of material and a little bit in like less than 24 hours. And I was like, don't do it or do it. And so I scheduled a sound booth. And I did at SAG-AFTRA because you could do voiceover thing.
Nice.
And I did one of the characters, but then on top of it, I had to learn an accent that I didn't know. And so I stayed up. I recorded it in my closet, because I don't have it. And I had to do it on Audacity, and then I had to edit. So I did like 3 scenes, and then they said, do 2 to 3 scenes, and you could do as many different takes as you want. But I don't have time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like due noon Saturday. And I just had to do it all myself. Like, you can cry all you want, but you either do it or you don't do it.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know how to do Odyssey, but who's going to help me? It's like, how do I get this clipped here? And I just figured it out.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I was
God
proud
bless
of
your heart.
Yeah. And I got it in, and then I sent it in, and then she says, one more try. The file's labeled incorrectly. I want lowercase on the agent name. And I'm like, are you
Oh
kidding?
my
Gosh.
gosh. For a name, a label?
Well, there was a system.
I mean, that's that's.
But it was like, oh my gosh, it was like admin, producer, editor, sound, actor,
your whole thing.
dialect experts.
You're a one-person sitcom, literally. You're doing all the things. You're doing
and then
all
my
the
cats
roles.
are trying to get in the closet at the same time.
That's so
But it
funny.
was so, but it
So you have gay
forces
cats?
us. You have cats, huh?
I said you have gay cats.
Yeah, gay cats.
They're trying to
Trying
get in the closet.
Yeah. But it forces us.
Did you catch that?
I got it. Yeah.
We'll be back in 2 and 2.
But anyway, I guess it just forces us to kind of keep stepping up our game, because at the end of the day, we can do it, and we don't have to do it if we don't.
Right. Exactly.
Want to.
Yeah.
Then don't do it. It's like, then don't do it. Okay.
Right. Right. Yeah. I kind of stopped auditioning for that very reason, because when I'm gone all the time, especially if I'm on a ship, the Wi-Fi is really spotty.
Yeah.
And you're in this tiny little room. A lot of times you
And then who
don't
are you
have
going to
a
get to
porthole.
read with you?
Right. You don't have someone to read with you. You don't want to carry all this camera equipment with you, because like the camera I carry is literally smaller than my hand. It's tiny.
Well, will that work?
I don't know. It depends on the ship.
I guess it just comes down to we can't do everything, right?
Right. I either want to make steady money or make potential money.
I don't want to keep bringing it up, but or volunteer.
Yeah.
That's 5 times on that call. Yeah. No, but I'd be a hobbyist.
Your dad would be so proud.
I know.
She said my line. That's my girl. That's my volunteer.
Community organizer. Yeah, that's my community organizer. Yeah,
I love that. That makes sense. Why do you think you started stand-up in the first place?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, let's see. Because I'm the youngest, right? And then every
Do you
time
have all brothers?
I have a brother and a sister older.
Oh, a sister.
They're
Okay.
kind of more like, they're fun.
Yeah.
They could be funny, but they're more not as, serious types. I think my mom and dad are funny. They're always making jokes or saying sarcastic comments and things like that. And my mom could be pretty witty.
Yeah.
And then every time I got my dad was always busy, and the way I got his attention is by saying something funny. He'd go, "Huh, that's," he would say, "Huh, that's funny."
That's funny. Yeah, that's where you learned it. Nice.
That's so funny. I
should
just
tell
realized
that.
That's funny.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So if I made him laugh, then it was, And then we always watched comedies at home, and they always watch comedies before going to bed, sitcoms and things.
Yeah.
So then I was an actress in college, or trying to be, and I never got cast in anything. And then I saw stand-up comedy, and I thought, well, then I can do my own thing. I'm not going to have somebody. I can be autonomous, and I wanted to find my own voice, and I wanted to create. And I didn't want somebody dictating whether or not I was going to be in The Good Woman of Szechuan.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it wanted that really.
Right.
It didn't. And so that's how I started.
So it was more so your first desire for it was more in college.
I always in high school, I always did skits and things, and I was in
to be funny.
It was always funny. I think I was just like naturally funny.
Yeah,
I was kind of encouraged to be funny as well. Growing even with kids, family, and all that. I was always, and my cousins were funny, like that kind of a thing. So I think it was a combination of But I think it was in college when I was about 18, and then I realized I'm not getting these parts, and all these people came from really big high schools, and I came from a tiny town. I didn't even know. And then I just had started looking into doing stand-up, and then I just started writing it. Yeah.
That's great.
So it's kind of like,
so cool.
It was like forced into.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not going to let somebody dictate what
Right.
I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm
Right.
going to find. And another thing, I tried to be in a band, and then people would cancel or get sick, or the band wouldn't exist anymore. I wanted to be a singer. And I was like, all these people, nobody's reliable. Have you found that?
Right. Yeah. Even in improv.
Yeah.
Like
I was
not
in an
everybody
improv group
shares
Yeah.
the stage.
Yeah.
Not everybody is at the same level as you are, and things like that. So even with improv, I would think of something funnier than someone else, but I was giving them the space, or vice versa. And I was like, it's never, if we're going to do a great show, it's all of the players. It's not just one person.
Yeah.
But if that person just decides not to show up or be sick or be in a bad mood, my set with that performance relies on that person, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to do it on my own.
Your own instincts, right?
I get the accolades, and I also fail. So, but whatever, I'm in control of it, of how much effort I put in.
Right.
Because if someone's not showing up to rehearsals, or they're in a bad mood or whatever, the show dictates their mood.
Yeah.
And I never wanted that. Like if I want to do comedy 5 nights a week, I will go and do that.
Right. You're not waiting for somebody to show up or not, or gonna bail, or
Exactly.
not commit the commitment level.
Yeah.
It's like you say, you really have to be full on committed to do this thing.
So when you first started, did you, almost every comedian will adopt a style of a comic that they love.
Oh.
Did you do that?
What did I do? I did a Rosanna Dana impression.
Oh,
I did that.
that's fantastic.
Oh, nice.
But I don't think that I copied somebody,
Yeah.
in terms of that,
Well,
like,
not necessarily copied, but you mimic what you think is. So what I did is an example.
Yeah.
The person that I first saw, the first woman that I saw live, not on TV, but live, was Margaret Smith.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember her delivery?
Yes.
She's hilarious,
yeah.
but like, she's so not me. We're so different.
That's
like my
so
energy
funny.
level, she couldn't be more stoic.
Yeah.
Where she would just go, I picked up my parents at the airport yesterday. They arrived on Tuesday.
Margaret Smith.
My last name is Smith. It's very boring. So I try to think of things to do to make it more interesting. Like when I check into a hotel room, I purposely don't write my last name down to get the hotel clerk to demand it. And then I go, Smith. Yeah, that's it, Smith. I have a way with children, you could probably tell. Like last weekend, I did a show. There was a young kid in the audience. He sat right up in front. So I said, "Hi, what's your name?" He said, "Jeremy." I said, "Oh, well, that's a nice name, Jeremy. How old are you?" He said, 10 and a half. I said, "Oh, that means you'll be about 20 and a half when the end of the world comes." So I won't ask you what college you want to go to. Because you'll be dead, Jeremy.
Which is, she's
That's hilarious.
She's great.
No,
but
she
there's
had a joke
no
about
energy. There's just very stoic, very behind the mic stand, just no walking around, very still. And I'm the opposite.
It's so funny.
But it took me a while.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because I
can imagine
and stuff, and I interact with the audience. She didn't do any of that.
No.
And
not at all. Like of all people for you to.
So the first several times I was tanking, and I was like, and I remember when I started
How come her of all? Just
because she was the first person that I
that
saw
she said.
live, and also I loved her writing style, and I was dying
wish
in
you
the
could
back
do
of the
that.
room.
Yeah.
I was like, she's amazing.
I don't mean you wish you could do. You wish you
Right.
could write like that. No. But
And also Paula Poundstone.
Yeah.
Love her style. She's one of my all-time favorite female comics.
Yeah.
Just comedians in general, not even female. She's so brilliant.
Yeah.
And I tried to be like her a little bit in the beginning
Yeah.
too.
If it goes downhill from here, we're all going to feel a little silly. So, well, I'm so glad you're here. And you're such a nice, warm crowd, and sometimes Los Angeles can be not such a nice, warm place. I got in a fight at the Museum of Tolerance over a parking space. I have 3 kids. I have a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 8-year-old. It's hard because it changes. I just showed him the other night the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I said, "Mommy seems good, doesn't she?"
But she has her own style, her own delivery. But when you don't know, you're like, this is what comedy is.
Yeah.
So you try to be that style, and it just doesn't always.
That's part of it too. Like the 7 years, I think it takes 7 years, they say.
7 to 10, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, before you can even breathe.
Find yourself.
Yeah. Some
on
kind of
stage.
something.
Right. You can be your more real, authentic self.
Yeah.
And I think you get there through trial and error.
Yeah.
So.
And then I feel like I'm still refining it or defining it or
Yeah.
figuring it
Yeah.
out, you know.
Yeah.
But at least to be something like not in your head, I guess, is like, okay, now I can do, because you asked earlier, how long did it take before you got shows? And I think it was about 7 years to where it was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I can
Yes.
go and hit the mark. And
Yeah. I feel like it took me about probably 10 years or a little bit more
Yeah.
to learn who I was and what my personality, let it
Yeah.
come out without
Yeah.
trying to mask it too much. And also I started out, I was clean, completely clean as a comic.
that's right.
And then I hit like some really emotional hard patches in life. And I started ranting about it on stage. Like I had a really bad breakup. Just this guy that I thought, oh, I'm going to marry him. He's the best.
Was that
thing
after
ever.
your marriage or before?
Yeah, but I
okay.
was married in my 20s, pretty young, and that lasted like 2 days.
Oh.
You know.
Oh, okay.
And so this other guy that I was engaged to was in my 30s, and I was like, oh, this is the one. This is everything. And when he broke my heart, I remember I went up on stage. It was at some bar, like not an open mic. It was a booked room, but still like.
In LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember going up there and just ranting everything about him because that's where I was emotionally.
Yeah.
And I was trying to, and it was so raw
Yeah.
and honest and not completely dirty, but dirty. Some of it was
Yeah.
R. And it just got such great, I'm like, that's who I am. Because I wasn't filtering anything. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to say
Yeah.
exactly how I feel and have punchlines in there.
Yeah.
And it got a great response. And I was like, is that a fluke or do I try that again?
Yeah.
And then I tried it again and I was like, it made me feel more like myself.
Right.
And I was like, oh, now I know how to be me on stage.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't until that moment that I finally was like, I know who it's me plus 15%. That's it.
Yeah.
It's my truth plus an exaggerated 15%, but it's not far off of me.
Performance.
Right.
Percent. Yeah. Like, yeah. When I started so much, I didn't really watch because I just didn't want to take on somebody else's.
Influence.
Yeah.
Right.
And my friend, Tim, this guy, Tim, that was in Arizona, and then he was watching everybody all the time. And this sounds arrogant, but I really like the quote. They asked Dan Rather, you're the #1 newscaster. Do you watch other newscasters? And he said, I've always said that the thoroughbred rides with blinders on. And so then I thought, oh, that's kind of how I'm not saying I'm a thoroughbred or whatever, but I always kind of watched like that because I didn't, in such an impressionable age and in the beginning, I didn't want to take on somebody else's persona, voice, rhythm, and all that. And you almost can't help it. It's just starts seeping in. So I like purposely, I would watch, but not.
Yeah. Like
You know.
I remember seeing Brian Regan.
Yeah. Oh, he's so
years
great.
And
I
years
wish
ago,
I could do him.
like maybe 20 years
I wish
ago.
I could do him. He's
watching
so
him on stage,
Yeah.
do a few shows, and then I'm standing in the back of the room, and you start to walk like him. You start to do his like, hey, you know what I mean? And he's so
right. I
He's
know.
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But you just kind of do that face he does.
Yeah.
Doctors are good people. That's why they avoid the word pain. It's a buzzword. They won't hit it a lot. They don't want to scare anybody. Doctors will tell you all about pressure. They'll tell you all about the pressure you're going to experience. If a doctor tells you you're about to feel some pressure, buckle up. In a moment, you're going to feel a little bit of pressure. The pressure hurt like hell! Pressure. All pain involves pressure. That's one of the definitions of pain. You could be swinging a 2x4 at your head. In a moment, you're going to feel a little bit of pressure. Hey, bring it on. I'm good under pressure. I like pressure situations.
If you did it, you can't do it. And then it's like,
it would not be funny if I did it because
Yeah.
that's him.
Yeah.
So I have to, and a lot of that's just being comfortable and confident enough in your own skin to go, yeah, this is me. These are all of my shortcomings.
Right.
These are all of my problems.
Yeah.
And being kind of naked on your show.
Yeah.
Naked on La Cienega.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which we're going to show a clip of too.
Oh, okay.
We're going to post the link down below. So definitely make sure you check that out.
The loneliness, the isolation I perpetually felt as a child made the relentless desert heat seem cold and hopeless as an Arctic winter. It was either that or all the air conditioning. 5,000 people, mostly Hispanic people. Is that racist? And then there's me. Oh, greenish, pinkish, olivey something. I'm Syrian and Lebanese. Yeah, yes, I'm half and half. My mother is Syrian and my dad is Lebanese. So I hate myself.
Jan, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome. I love it. We're going to put her website. Definitely go see her live. She is amazing. Once again, this is Jann Karam, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So
it was so great to be here. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Of course.
Aw.
It's amazing to see just what she started at and her career just blossom into all these different experiences as a female comic. I love watching and sharing this business with you. It's because you're like me. You root for the other person.
And we've been in the trenches. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Share it with your friends and click on the links below and support Jan's career and mine. Keep watching, sharing it with people. We love you guys. We'll see you soon.